Okay, so you're not going to believe it, but I have had this condenser mic for about 8 or 9 months, and I've only today found out that the microphone is supposed to be hanging upside down in order to get the best quality sound. Now, I have had so many complaints on my videos about the quality of the sound, and I've had this lovely mic this whole time and not known how to use it, and that's just inexcusable, really, until today. What can I say? I'm just not a very techy person, and I suppose I'm just a slow learner. So some of you are probably going to be cringing and face palming so hard that I can pretty much feel it and hear it from here in the Irish countryside. But anyway, I am fairly 100% certain that the quality of the sound in this video is going to be a million times better than all my other videos. So anyway, that's a plus. It means that things should be a lot better from now on going forwards. Okay, so I'm actually really excited for this video because I'm going to be getting into talking about a topic that I've wanted to cover for a long time. And that is the this kind of phenomenon of dating coaches certifying other coaches to teach their methods. Now, I just think this whole coaching the coach phenomenon is just so fascinating. It's kind of like a scam within a scam. It's like the pyramid scheme of um, dating and life coaching. It's it's really, it's kind of taken the multi-level marketing business model and kind of applied it to this whole arena of dating and life coaching and said, well, someone along the lines has said, okay, well, people don't seem to want to be buying our books and programs and products anymore. How can we continue to milk this audience for even more money whilst providing as little value as possible? And someone somewhere along the line came up with this idea of coaching members of their kind of fan base or audience to be coaches and selling them this idea that they could have a profitable business being a coach. Why do I compare this to a multi-level marketing scheme? Well, in MLMs, you have people who you have someone at the top of the pyramid basically selling the idea to someone below them that they can develop a successful business by recruiting other people and selling products, essentially exactly what the person above them is doing. And they're all competing for the same market, the same clients. And very rarely does the person underneath reach the same kind of heights of financial success um, as the person who coached them or trained them. In many cases, it just ends up being like a very expensive sort of, um, I don't know, hobby or a kind of a like a little feather in their cap or a bit of their education, but not really a way to make a successful and sustainable business. Now, don't get me wrong, some life coaches and dating coaches do very well financially, but rarely do the coaches that they train underneath them do as well. So, anyway, we're just going to have a look. Today we're going to look at Rori Raye's certified coach program, her program by which she certifies other coaches to be Rori Raye certified coaches. Now, if that sounds like a somewhat kind of crazy scheme or quite a kind of convoluted idea, you're not alone. I remember when the Rori Raye certified coaching program first came out. As I mentioned in a previous video, I used to be very heavily involved in the Rori Raye blog, which once upon a time, sort of circa 2013, 2014, 2015, was a really thriving community of women who used to get together and discuss their dating issues and their relationships. And I made friends on that blog. I really enjoyed it. It was, as I say, a very thriving community once upon a time. Rory Ray used to be sort of like the demigod of relationship coaches for women back in the day. Not so much nowadays. She follows a feminine energy style of coaching. And if you've seen any of my videos about feminine energy, you'll know what I think of that. But anyway, at the time, sort of 2013 to 2015, I was very, very heavily involved in this whole feminine energy style of dating. And I thought that Rory Ray's methods were really something special. Um, and for a while, Rory Ray herself was very involved with clients and with her community. And then somewhere around 2015, I think, excuse me, could have been a little bit before, it could have been 2014, but she came up with the idea of certifying coaches to use her methods to coach clients. She kind of announced that she was no longer going to be coaching clients herself, but she was going to be training other coaches to kind of follow in her footsteps. Um, and I think the response from the community was a bit mixed. I mean, I certainly had my reservations about this idea at the time. And I will just say that once Rory started certifying coaches and her coaches started kind of regularly commenting on the blog and offering their perspectives and insight, it was pretty much the death of that community. No one seemed to really take to the new coaches that well. Some of those coaches in her first sort of batch of coaches that she trained went on to be very successful. Some of them, like Leah Lake and Helena Hart, um, were, are still successful coaches to this day. But I think from what I can gather, the majority of Rory Ray certified coaches have just sort of joined the pool of kind of lukewarm, you know, kind of insipid dating coaches that are sort of out there in the murky waters of dating advice. And I personally think that this was probably a business move on Rory's part, despite the fact that Rory Ray coaches using feminine energy methods. I've heard from people who know her behind the scenes that she is a very kind of type A, business minded, savvy businesswoman who is ultimately kind of driven by the bottom line of her business. And you know what? That is what it is, I suppose. But if we look at, I've often brought up the way that Rory Ray writes as being, now that I'm out of that community, now that I'm kind of deconstructing or have deconstructed most of the dating advice that I swallowed for years, I sort of see Rory Ray's style and method as being quite manipulative, and the articles that she writes kind of give this advice to women that's really hard to follow. It's very confusing. The wording kind of meanders all over the show, and it really sort of messes with your mind. And this is probably the biggest problem that I have with it. It's just very kind of takes you on these meandering paths where you just don't know which way is up or down anymore, and you feel like you can't trust yourself. And I think dating kind of coaching communities and dating advice communities are somewhat cult-like in this way. But anyway, I could go off on a tangent about that. But today we're specifically here to talk about her certified coaching program, or how to become a Rory Ray certified coach. And you'll see what I mean about the meandering language and the manipulative kind of statements that are used just to kind of bring you, it all feels like a strategy to bring you round to Rory's way of thinking, and to convince you to pay the extremely high ticket price that the program asks for to become a Rori Raye certified coach. And we'll see what that price is when we have a look at the website. So I'm going to bring it up here. Okay. So this is Rori Raye's um this is her the part of her website which talks about her certified coach training. Rori Raye's Have the Relationship You Want certified coach training. Become a professional love, relationship, and feminine energy coach in 6 months or less. Join Rori Raye as your mentor in the one-of-a-kind, powerful coach training experience that has produced successful superstar coaches all over the world for the last 12 years, where Rori and her faculty of master coaches will give you all the skills, tools, and confidence you need to become a successful coach, licensed to use the Rori Raye Have the Relationship You Want and Modern Siren Toolbox, along with the Rori Raye method of coaching in as little as 60 days, even if you've never coached before. Now, bear in mind, you're essentially going to be giving dating and relationship advice to clients. And what is really going to qualify you to do that? So she talks about you having the skills, tools, and confidence you need to practice her specific methods. And what are these methods? I mean, they're nothing more than the brainchild of this woman, Rori Raye. Nothing more than her own ideas and opinions about relationships. And she's talking about certifying you in as little as 60 days. Now, I find that really alarming that someone who claims to be able to train people in 60 days feels comfortable just kind of unleashing these coaches onto, unsuspecting clients. Do these clients know that their coaches have received only 60 days worth of training, and they're putting their relationships in these coaches' hands? It's kind of alarming. So there's Rori. I'm a little bit congested. So just oh, okay. So here comes the pitch for the certified coaching training program. Gosh, I wonder if I'm ever going to be able to say that right, so that it actually sounds like something that makes sense. So now she's starting with, have you noticed this about yourself? And what she's really doing here is appealing to the widest, most general audience possible in order to try and convince everybody reading this that relationship coaching will be for them. Because this is a sales pitch. Don't make any mistake about it or get it twisted in any way. This is about convincing you to buy her training program and to join her coach certification program. This is not about anything else. This is not about helping people. This is not about you fulfilling your lifelong dreams. This is simply about selling her coaching program to you. So she says, you're someone others often feel comfortable sharing their innermost thoughts and feelings with. When your girlfriends, family, or even female colleagues come to you for advice, you love being able to help them in return. Now, who doesn't love helping people? I would say a lot of people, probably a great many people love helping people, especially women. We're very kind of relationship orientated, and we often discuss personal issues with the people in our lives. So this could really appeal to anybody. So she says you can often see their blind spots and what's standing in their way when they can't. You're a good listener. You don't judge or criticize. You empathize. You get what they're going through. For example, you understand why they always fall for the unavailable guys, or why they're too scared to ask for that well-deserved raise at work, and why their need to control things is draining the passion from their relationship and pushing their guy away. Okay. Just understanding so much of this and feeling compassion for women stuck in these awful situations and suffering so much mental blame means you're a natural coach. So, this is the part where she tells you that despite what you may think about yourself and despite your reservations that you're not qualified to do this, you are actually perfect for this program. Um, so, she says, You have a special gift that's greatly needed in the world right now. And when it comes to relationship advice and the power of feminine energy, you're already aligned with the power of Rory Raye's tools, like how to get a man to sit up and take notice of you when he's been distant or withdrawing. So this is what it's all about with these feminine energy types: getting a man to notice you, getting a man to do something to love you, to give you what you need and want out of a relationship by playing these manipulative games. This is what it's all about with these people. Um, how to turn around a dysfunctional relationship when you've almost given up hope. If your relationship is dysfunctional, why should it be up to you as one person in the relationship to turn it around? This is, again, this is a pipe dream that these feminine energy coaches sell to women, to get them to believe that it is possible to redeem and heal a toxic relationship. And they've got all the tools and the special kind of magic formula to help you do it. Or how to magnetically attract the man of your dreams and without having to chase him. Now, it's worth mentioning that for these feminine energy coaches, chasing a man is just talking to him if he doesn't talk to you first. So that's ridiculous, but that's what they believe. Maybe Rory Raye's tools have already completely transformed the way you approach relationships, and you're positive they can do the same for other women. On the business side of being a professional coach, does this sound like you? You dream of creating your own business where you make a big impact in the lives of others. You're longing to have total financial and time freedom without ever having to answer to anyone but yourself. You're tired of the corporate rat race and being stuck in a soulless, fluorescent lit cubicle and masculine culture where you have to stuff your feminine nature down. Well, this is most people. This is, most people have some sort of dream of being their own boss and having financial and time freedom and not having to answer to someone. Nobody really likes the corporate rat race. So, again, this is trying to appeal to the broadest audience possible. And if that's not you, there's more. So, or you have your own business. Maybe you're a coach, therapist, masseuse, or nutritionist, but you want a grand uplift without adding to your work plate. Something or someone with an already successful toolbox of proven techniques, methods, and materials to set you up for success by putting the marketing power of their brand behind you. You can't help but feel like you're meant for so much more than you're experiencing with work right now. And you're just so ready for a new path to open up, a path with clear markers, directions, instruction, and the personal mentorship of a well known coach with a hugely successful brand behind you to help you get started, get successful, and answer your own deepest why. Now, if that little bit at the end about finding your why sounds familiar, that's what a lot of MLMs ask you to do as well. And a lot of these self-development coaches, which like to me is also complete BS. It's about finding your why, finding the reason why you're doing this that's going to keep you going and that's going to help you to justify to yourself why you're spending all this money and time on something which isn't really working for you. So she says if you can relate to any of the above, you're in good company. So many women in today's world find themselves longing to listen to the voice deep inside that keeps whispering, I feel like I'm destined for more. I want a career that feels like me and that lights me up. Except this career isn't necessarily going to feel like you because you're going to be coaching using Rory's methods and Rory's opinions about relationships, her ideas. It's not this is not coming from you. She's going to be expecting you to use her strategies, and it's not going to be original or authentic, but she's trying to make you seem as if she's trying to convince you that it will be. Um, so here's a different reality. Imagine having a career that's so soul satisfying and so well suited to your passions and interests that it doesn't even feel like work. Well, what does she know about our passions and interests? Um, It feels more like a calling, a personal mission, a higher purpose, where you're constantly feeling energized by what you do and gratified knowing you're making a difference in the lives of other women. Oh, you're making a difference, all right. It's just not necessarily a positive difference. The number of women that I have seen tie themselves in knots over this feminine energy bullshit. Women on Rory Raye's blog, women in Facebook groups who follow this kind of dating advice, who go round and round in circles with the same toxic men and the same self defeating behaviors because of listening to nonsense like what Rory Raye puts out. So anyway, that's a separate tangent that I could go on, but I'm gonna try and just stick to stick to the coaching program. Okay, so she says women you can relate to and understand on a very deep level as they're experiencing similar struggles as you in their love lives with their emotions and self esteem. And just for a minute, also imagine being free from worries over job security or the stress of corporate politics, getting paid what you're really worth, having complete agency over your life, setting your own hours, calling the shots, working with people you want to work with, working wherever and whenever you want, no longer being limited by what others think you should be doing with your time or creativity, and so much more. Perhaps you've dreamed of a coaching career many times, especially after seeing so many successful entrepreneurs and coaches living their dream lives on Instagram. But despite wanting a change so bad, you've not felt ready to start. So you have to also notice how manipulative all this language is. She's kind of stringing together these really kind of vague and ethereal statements that, with all these dots on the end of them. She's painting this really kind of big magical picture for you, and she's doing it over and over and over again. So repetition is a good sales tactic. You just beat the same thing into people's brains over and over and over and over again until you gradually and slowly wear down their resistance. Or you keep saying the same thing in slightly different ways, hoping that something will stick, that you'll eventually hit on that one thing that is like a pain point for that particular person who's reading your sales pitch. She says you might even feel a bit scared of taking that big leap. Okay, so now she's appealing to people who feel anxiety about this, about paying all this money, because you're subconsciously worried you might fail or what others might think. Or maybe you're already a coach, but you struggle with the business side of things, or you're not as confident in your transformative skills as you'd like to be. So then that's another what if statement. This is all repetition. So even before you complete all 22 weeks of training and without stress or worry. Okay, so at the start of this page, she said that you could become certified in as little as 60 days. And now she says that the training is actually 22 weeks. So which is it? Do you need the full 22 weeks of coaching training in order to be a coach, or don't you? Hmm. Um, what if Rory Raye's Have the Relationship You Want coach training provided you with all the knowledge, skills, and resources and training you would ever need to build an exciting career that feeds your soul and generates the income you need to live comfortably? Now, I will hand it to Rory. All of this sounds really good. If I was in a mindset to trust her or believe what she was saying, I would find this really seductive. I mean, I, like most other people, work a typical job where I have to answer to a boss and where my salary is capped at a particular amount. And like, yes, of course, I'd love to be my own boss and have have all these soul fulfilling, elements to my work that she's talking about here. But the difference is, I suppose, that I have seen Rori Raye and her community up close and personal. And I've talked to coaches behind the scenes. I have behind the scenes knowledge of all of this. And I was in this world for several years. And I know what the true consequences of all of this is and how it really is on the inside. And it's not the way that she portrays it in this web page. It's just not like that. you come into it, I suppose, if you're willing to pay the amount of money that she asks for this coaching training program, you come into it with all these big dreams, thinking you're going to earn this fabulous income and you're going to have clients beating down your door. And you're going to be able to be your own boss and just do whatever you like. And it's just not like that. It's just not realistic. Some coaches, as in multi-level marketing, some coaches have been able to have that sort of life. Most coaches don't get to have that sort of life. Okay, so honestly, a lot of this is just repetition. I'm going to, then she talks about how it was for her when she first became a coach. I want to just scroll down um, a little bit because, God, it's so repetitive. Um, right. Let's have a look at this bit. Introducing the Have the Relationship You Want coach training program. Okay, well, isn't that what we've been doing up to now? You're saying you're only introducing it now. You've been doing that for several paragraphs already. Anyway, this is what I mean with repetition and with just this manipulative language. The Have the Relationship You Want coaching training program is based on the powerful brand of digital and live programs that began with Rori Raye's huge bestseller book, Have the Relationship You Want. Now, Have the Relationship You Want is a bestseller. I mean, Rori Raye herself is or was at one point in time a massively, massively successful dating coach. And at one time, she did have a massive, massive followership. And now I don't quite know when the tide turned for her, but I suspect that at a certain point in time, she sort of saw that the popularity of her methods and her products was waning somewhat, and she needed a way to keep her business going and to kind of sustain her empire. And so she turned to this coaching the coaches, training other coaches as a way to continue to sustain her business and still make money. Because this coach training program is not cheap. But anyway, at one time, she was a very successful dating coach. And by successful, I mean that a lot of people listened to her, not necessarily that the advice was great. So the success of Have the Relationship You Want then grew into a world-class blog. That's the blog I was talking about. At one particular time, it was a very vibrant community with lots of participants, and it was really quite remarkable at one point in time. It's now a barren wasteland. Hardly anyone comments anymore. So anyway, um, the unique, powerful modern siren concept Rory is so famous for, along with her trademarked terms like circular dating, feeling messages, and the lean back. Now, let me just translate those terms for you because I just think it's interesting. So, circular dating is just basically dating non exclusively, it's just dating multiple people without being exclusive to one particular person. That's all that circular dating is. Rori Raye has kind of just, I suppose, claimed that concept as if it was her own unique invention when it's not. It's just ordinary dating without being exclusive to one particular person. Feeling messages is really just a pop psychology, you know, way of expressing yourself by saying I feel and then naming your feeling. It's also not very revolutionary. And the lean back simply refers to women not initiating with men. So waiting for the man to come to them, waiting for the man to approach them first, communicate with them first, phone them first, give them gifts first, pay for things first, all this sort of thing. That's all that lean back means. These are not very difficult concepts, especially if you kind of understand what the feminine energy kind of dating approach is. Um, but anyway, Rori Raye is all about this sort of thing. Um, and so it goes on to say, cemented her recognized place in the history of feminine energy. Well, I mean, she is like the OG feminine energy dating coach, I suppose. There have been lots of kind of imitations or kind of like people who followed in her footsteps afterwards. Um, Because Rory herself began her work in the world as an actress, director, and writer, along with decades of studying and personally experiencing nearly every psychological and spiritual methodology ever taught, I somehow think that that is probably not true. That seems like a very bold claim to make, and I think it is very likely to be inaccurate. When she discovered her career in coaching, she rebelled from the gold standards of the coach trainings she took. They felt completely mental, masculine, and totally non intuitive to her. It's worth noting that feminine energy dating advice is very much against women using their brains or their thinking abilities. They're all about using your feelings, and you're supposed to be incredibly emotional all the time, and kind of your thoughts and your brain is sort of the enemy of your success in dating. And honestly, that was one of the things that messed me up the most when I was following all this sort of advice. It was just I came to kind of see my thoughts as being the enemy, and it's really harmful and damaging, and it makes me very angry, and I feel very strongly about it. It's just absolutely awful in my opinion. Really quite cult like, if you ask me. Um, the Rori Raye method of coaching is an amalgam of many different psychology techniques, common sense, and incredible understanding of how men work and how women have become emotionally shackled and conflicted. I think the ironic part of this is that I think feminine energy advice actually emotionally shackles women almost more than anything else. Um, but it claims to be able to help women to break free and to have all this success with men. I will say that my true success in relationships started after I, you know, became free of all this nonsense. Um, Rory combined the science with her training in the theatre. What science, Rory? Never, not once, in all the books and articles of Rory Raye's that I have ever read, in all the discussions that I've ever taken part in about her methods, have I ever seen or heard one iota of science being put forward in defense of her methods. Not one bit of scientific evidence have I ever seen. And what do you know? She's not specific about what science it is here either, because I would venture to say that science just does not exist. Um, so, to not only understand the many layers that make up personality, romance, emotional intimacy, life approach, commitment, and communication, but to be able to teach all of this to other women in a completely new, original, deep role playing way that's instantly transformational. Okay, it just carries on and on and on like that. Cultivate more self love, get unstuck in their careers, live life from your feminine. Oh, roll my eyes. You'll be a feminine energy coach who's equipped to help women connect to their power, intuition, sensuality, wisdom, and gifts in all areas of their lives. Well, no, that's not true. If you follow Rori Raye's method, she wants you to be a particular version of a woman. You can't necessarily be yourself, especially if yourself is in any way masculine. If you're in any way sort of tomboyish or not 100% feminine all the time in all ways, you know, Rory Ray is going to have you convinced that there's something wrong with you. Um, okay, I really, this repetition is just really quite, is really quite, frustrating. So I just want to, it's more and more of the exact same thing, saying the same thing in just a million different ways. Um, just goes on and on and on and on. Again, about who is the coach training for. We already did that right at the start of the page. So I don't know why they have to say the same thing over and over and over again. I want to get down to the part where she talks about the costs. Oh, this is actually worth looking at. She says, this training is not for you if you're not interested in coaching women on how to improve everything from their romantic relationships to their careers. You're not ready to become unstuck and step out of your own comfort zone by starting your own business. You prefer working for someone else and having them decide your hours, pay, and holidays. I laughed at that because, I mean, that's just so clearly ridiculous. She says, you're unable to make a financial investment right now. We understand and would love to welcome you another time if we have space. Okay, so she says that, you know, this might not be for you if you're not able to make a financial investment right now. And make no mistake about it, this coaching training is incredibly expensive. Um, so yeah, but this is the part that I thought was just really quite interesting. It's what she claims the coach training program is worth. So she says, here's what you'll get: 5 one-to-one coaching sessions with Rory Raye and weekly group sessions with RRCT master coaches, value $10,000. So she's saying that 5 coaching sessions, just 5 sessions, and weekly group sessions is worth $10,000. Hmm. I somehow doubt that. I somehow doubt, like, how can you justify that that's what it's worth? Are there people in real life who are willing to pay that amount of money for that? Um, so this is a manipulative sales tactic where they say, well, this is what this aspect of this product is worth, but something is only worth that if you have people who are willing to pay that amount of money that you say that it's worth for what you're talking about. And nowhere in this whole page does she justify why she says that's what it's worth. So she says you'll get 5 one-on-one 30-minute coaching sessions. So these 5 coaching sessions that you get aren't even a full hour, they're 30 minutes. I mean, once you've introduced yourselves and had a little bit of chit chat, I mean, what can you really achieve in 30 minutes, I wonder? But apparently Rory is just that good, that 5 of these 30-minute sessions is actually worth $10,000. So she'll personally give you feedback on your coaching skills, guidance on how to set up a business and create a brand, and so much more. So she's going to do all of that in 5 30-minute sessions. Okay. Unlimited email access to Rory for an entire 6 months, so you can ask her anything you need help with. Weekly 30-minute calls with RRCT master coaches. Are these the group sessions? So even the group sessions are 30-minute calls? Wow. And she wants us to believe this is worth $10,000. Whoa. Okay. Well, I certainly wouldn't pay that kind of money for this. But anyway, recordings of all coaching sessions. Well, I should jolly well hope so for the price that you're asking. Step-by-step guidance on how to master the method no one else is using, except all the other coaches that she's already trained. So she says no one else is using, which is a lie, because she's been training coaches in her methods since, as I say, 2014. And so you're competing with all those other Rory Raye certified coaches. But she says that they'll teach you to distinguish yourself from other coaches. How do you teach someone to be unique, I wonder? That seems a bit crazy to me. Creative role playing and intuitive inquiry techniques to effectively guide clients to have powerful breakthroughs. The breakthrough tools to get to the heart of what your client really wants, feels, and needs: access to 30 hours of training videos and audio instruction, plus a written manual on Rori Raye method of coaching. So 200 feminine energy, love, and relationship tools, step-by-step over video, $3,000 value. Again, how do we know that that's what the value is? Just have to take your word for it, I suppose. Okay, most powerful and effective love advice. She needs to capitalize those words, just, because she's desperate that we should believe her. So you can help any woman with any relationship or feminine energy challenge. Um, what if they're a woman who has masculine energy? What then? Well, I think we already know. Well, I already know what the response to that would be. That woman would be told that she just has to be more feminine, and that's why she's not succeeding with men, because that's what these coaches do. Uh, they frame every relationship problem as the woman not being feminine enough. So, yeah. Okay. So she also provides digital business and marketing success secrets. I mean, that might be interesting to know because Rory herself is pretty much a business genius. She has managed to be very successful in this whole dating coaching arena for a long time. So she might actually know a thing or two about business and about marketing herself, and building a brand. She has actually been very successful at this. Although I must say, I personally am not interested in using excessively manipulative. I'm not interested in using excessive manipulation or slimy sales tactics to build an empire. Personally, that's not for me. But I suppose if you are interested in learning those sorts of business success secrets, then you know this might be interesting to you. Um, hmm. So she's going to teach us how to identify your ideal client to match your unique skills and set your business up for success right from the get go. Personalized mentorship to build a brand in your business, how to pick a niche. Picking a niche is also something that MLM coaches and MLM leaders teach you how to do. It's really just another way of saying how to manipulate people to believe that you are able to help them, even if you are not an expert in this thing that is your so called niche. It's all manipulation. That's all that this is. It's manipulation and lying. Um, okay, how to promote yourself online in an organic way so clients who need you will come to you. No need for pushy sales or cold calls. Well, I should bloody well hope not. Um, confidence building and skill mastery. Get what so few coaches have when starting out, the ability to practice your skills and get feedback from me and my coaches. Okay, you've already said this a million times. Um, access to an ongoing pipeline of potential clients through the Have the Relationship You Want RRCT Business Incubator and Coaching Lab. That sounds really creepy. A pipeline of potential clients through the business incubator and coaching lab. Why does that make me think of like babies in a NICU, you know, kind of waiting to be reunited with their parents? It just sounds so creepy. But yes, this is what happens behind the scenes with Rori Raye and her coaches. She does, once you complete the coaching program, I've heard from her coaches that she does send you referrals and that sort of thing. But it's by no means a guaranteed consistent income that will allow you to, quit your job and make the six-figure income that she's going to promise us you can make in just a moment. So then she says you get access to a private online group, Siren Island, where you can practice your coaching skills and maybe pick up new clients. Um, so I've heard of Siren Island. It's basically a Facebook group. I think the women who use it pay a monthly fee, like $7 or $8, or it used to be around about that amount of money. I don't know what it is now, and they get access to basically newly trained Rori Raye coaches for like kind of basic advice on their relationship issues. Now, these sorts of Facebook groups are rife with their own problems. I will just say that, having been a part of them once upon a time. But yeah, it's the Siren Circle, the Siren Island Facebook group is something that people have to pay to be a part of, and then they also get pitched coaching to once they're in it. They get advertised to, and you're kind of pushed to get additional coaching and spend more money. So it's really just it's basically a funnel that you're also paying for. It's all about sales. It's all about marketing. It's all about making money for these people. Um, so, access to Siren Circle, which is another online group where women are eager to learn and get advice on their love life and also work with coaches like you to get unstuck. So, are these coaches that are coming through your program, are they having to coach on these Facebook groups for free, Rory? Are they getting paid to provide this advice to women in these groups? So they paid all this money to be certified coaches. And then the potential clients have paid money to Rory to be a part of the Siren Circle and Siren Island. But at what point do the coaches themselves get paid? Because it's starting to sound more and more like a pyramid scheme to me. Um, okay, so then there's a few. There are these master coaches that you're supposedly going to be learning from. I'm not gonna go into who they are. It doesn't really matter. These are all coaches who have done the certified coaching training program. At this point, I think there are probably a lot of Rori Raye certified coaches floating around out there, and as I say, they've all paid an inordinate amount of money to be a certified Rori Raye coach. And certainly not all of them have achieved the kind of financial freedom that she's promising here. So here's yet another bit from Rory about her story and what she does and who she is, and it's all repetition. I think one of the reasons why these sorts of pages are so long and why they repeat themselves so much is potentially because it makes it seem like you're getting all this information, even though 90% of it is just repetition. And maybe they're banking on people not reading the whole thing and just kind of scrolling and picking up bits and pieces here and there. And they think if they repeat everything 27 times, that, they'll be able to get their message across to anyone who comes. There's definitely going to be some sort of marketing reason behind why this is set up like this. And there's Helena Hart. Now, I will say Helena Hart was one of Rori Raye's very first certified coaches. She's a lovely person. And I've got nothing against her. But because she, again, much like multi-level marketing, because she was one of the coaches that got in right at the beginning, her and Leah Lake and a handful of others, they're the only ones who've really been able to earn these really, really top incomes by being a Rori Raye certified coach, because they were amongst the very first coaches who were certified. So they really they cleaned up. They did really well financially. But with each batch of certified coaches that comes out, they do less and less well, and that, as I say, it's exactly like a pyramid scheme in that way. You have to get in early. You have to get in while it's all still new and novel. And then you can have success. But if you're getting in right at the end, when this has already been going for nearly 10 years, it's not going to necessarily work out so well for you. There's just so many of these coaches out there. And in a moment, I'm just going to go over to the list of Rori Raye certified coaches so you can get an idea of how many certified coaches there are, and why this might not be the ideal way for you to make a really good income. You're competing with all these other coaches for clients. And if she's also saying that all of these coaches are in these Facebook groups, the Siren Island and Siren Circle, they're all there competing for the same clients. I mean, how on earth is she guaranteeing these coaches that they're going to make a six-figure income? Um, Okay. So it's again repetition, targeting people's pain points, why they might um, be looking for some sort of change in their lives, some sort of change in their careers. Again, just beating the same thing into your head over and over again. Okay, so this is the part I wanted to focus on, your investment. So you're probably wondering, how much does this all cost? As mentioned, Rori Raye retired her one-on-one coaching services some time ago. But when she did still offer private sessions, she charged $1,997 per hour. Holy shit. Can you imagine paying $2,000 an hour for relationship coaching? I I am shocked and horrified. I mean, that is insane. And like, what kind of guarantees does she offer for that sort of money? Probably none. Probably if the advice she gives you doesn't work for you, she's probably going to just blame you and tell you you weren't kind of implementing it right. Um, you know, Much like they do in cults and MLMs. If the advice doesn't work for you, then the problem must be with you. It can't possibly be with the advice or with the coach. So then she goes, I know, not cheap, almost as if like she, like she's being in tongue in cheek about it, like, oh, I know that it's ludicrously expensive, but I mean, what can I say? Like it just is what it is. Um, but given her decades of experience during these intimate coaching sessions, she could give the women she worked with something they had struggled for years or even decades to achieve, a real transformation. I mean, again, I suppose we just have to take her word for that. And during your 5 sessions together with Rori, she'll be helping you do the same with your coaching business. Rori will be sharing her best skills and personally coaching you on how to be an extraordinary, have the relationship you want coach and create a business that feels soulfully aligned. Okay, so she's really avoiding getting to the point of how much this training program actually costs. And here's a reminder of everything else you'll get. So she again, she's beating it into our brains over and over again how fantastic this coaching training program is. Like hints, if they have to work so hard and be so repetitive to try and convince you that it's that great, probably not that great. But anyway, so it's all of these things with all of this value that you'll be getting if you sign up for the coaching training program. So then she says, given all the coaching, marketing, tech, and business support and client opportunities, this program is valued at $25,500. Valued by who? Who says that's what it's valued by? Like, is is that just your opinion? Because if so, you're not a very objective source for us to kind of rely on. And she said, but you'll pay just $9,997. So just a cheap, cheap tip for you. If something ends in a seven, if a price ends in a seven, it's a scam. Because this is a very well known, oldest time technique to somehow make people believe. For some reason, when you end off a price in a seven, people think that they're getting a good deal because a nine is considered too high, but a seven is kind of close enough to 10, and it feels like a good deal to people. So to me, it tells me everything that I need to know about this program. The fact that it's $9,997 and that it ends in a seven, right there, I know it's a scam. And then she has supposed testimonials from all these other coaches. Just look how many of them there are. Um, just, just lots and lots and lots of other coaches. Um, so then it's basically just more repetition, just repeating the same thing that she's already told us 50 times. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to just show you how many Rori Raye certified coaches there actually are, just so you can get an idea of who you'll be competing with. And she's talking about your income potential and you know how you can quit your job and have this amazing business and this amazing you know this like amazing earning potential. But I just want to remind you that you're going to be competing with lots and lots and lots and lots of other coaches for clients. Um, and now I'm trying to find a list. She used to have a list on her website of all the Rori Raye coaches um, that have ever been certified. And I can't actually find a list of the coaches. Instead, what we see, and I just want to show it to you, when you click on get coaching, um, so if you go to her website, um, and you want to find coaching, so if I click on private coaching, I'm taken to another page which tries to sell me the Siren Circle um, program, which is a Facebook group. Um, it looks like it also gets you get private coaching, but what I just want to mention is that it looks like all of this goes through Rori Raye first. All you would be paying Rori Raye's business herself. And then it looks like she will be paying the coaches to do the coaching. So in the past, it used to be that there was a list of certified coaches on the website, and you could go, each of the coaches would have their own website, and you could go to whichever coach you wanted to work with, whichever one you kind of felt drawn to. You could approach the coach directly for coaching. And now instead, I see she doesn't even have a list of coaches anymore. She's just pitching you more of her own programs, and then the coaches that she certifies are um, are working through her. And she's paying them. The clients are paying Rori, and then Rory's paying the coaches. Now, this is really quite ingenious because she's making money off of these coaches twice. Firstly, these coaches are having to pay to be certified, $10,000 no less. And then she's using them to coach these clients who are coming to her website and buying the Siren Circle, group, package or what have you. And then the coaches are being employed to coach the clients in the Siren Circle. So Rori is making money off these coaches twice. And Rori herself is not even doing the coaching. So, that this reminds me of Jeff and Shalia from Twin Flames Universe, and the way that they were certifying their Ascension coaches. But then the Ascension coaches also had to give them a cut of the coaching fees that they were getting from clients. So it's an MLM business model, and all the money funnels upwards to the top. And if you fall for this and become one of these coaches, you're going to be paying and working, and you're going to be forever indebted to Rori, and you're going to be part of this very cult-like community. So um, I would love to dive more into this, but I've been talking for nearly an hour now, and my voice is starting to get tired. This is actually the second video I've made today. So I will be diving more into this. You can be sure of it. This whole Rori Raye coaching training program is one big scam, if you ask me. And I definitely want to expose it. So we will go more into that in another video. For now, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that this has given you food for thought. I hope I'm starting to help you see about how these coaching the coach programs are a scam, how they're very much like multi-level marketing. And please, please stay away from them, and please Stay away from feminine energy dating advice. I mean, unless it has genuinely helped you and you've genuinely found benefit from it and you've somehow managed to escape the manipulative aspects of it, in which case I'm thrilled for you. But I just really want to caution you to be very, very careful of this sort of thing. So, anyway, I will see you guys next time and keep well, take care, and thank you for watching. Bye.